Alright, hello there ladies and gentlemen, Moletrap here, coming at you with game number 2 of UpMagic versus Jaedong. This is the OSL Semifinals from the Ever OSL from 2007. Casting all the semifinals and the third place match in the lead up to our faux live event, which is going to be going on in a couple weeks on August 7th. And yeah, so we got UpMagic as the Terran player in the top right, and we got Jaedong as the Zerg player in the bottom left. You might notice this is a little bit of a funny shaped map. It's not a square. It's a rectangle. And this is map Blue Storm. Excuse me, Blue Storm. Very cool map. We've seen a lot of games on this map over the years. Well, I guess obviously we've seen a lot of games on a lot of different maps, but I guess this one is interesting to me. Like, it's kind of has a little bit of a special place in my heart because it was one of the maps that was very popular when I started casting, and so I kind of like recognize a little bit. I actually have a couple interesting stories about this map as well. From this was in the map pool in WCG United States in, I believe, 2008, which me and Diggity and Psionic Reaver all got to cast live, sort of. Like, that's why I'm thinking about. That's what this map reminds me of, is that event, because it was like, it was just a very low-key event, but we managed to be able to cast the event live at the venue because it was in Los Angeles. Drove down to Los Angeles. I was living in Northern California at the time, and yeah, and so we got to do this live cast, but the tournament organizers of WCG USA at the time didn't have any clue what esports was or how it worked, and so they thought we could just have the players on stage and have the casters broadcasting over a speaker where the players could hear everything that they said. And that didn't work. And so we ended up having to cast, like, not talking about what the game was doing. And so we ended up saying stuff like, oh, and we see over here that something interesting is going on. And, like, we had to highlight, like, oh, look, he's building a factory, in the hidden factory. And we just had, like, act like nothing was going on. And we actually couldn't get excited about anything. And, anyway. So, sorry, but anyway, let's drop that story, I guess, for now, because we do have a little bit of action going on. We've seen some harassment going on in UpMagic's base. Lost an SCV. Pretty poor form there. I think he lost an SCV, right? I'm actually, like, having trouble remembering what happened, like, 30 seconds ago. But anyway, this is a very interesting map because you have this tiny little choke point leading to the natural, but there's also there's a long route that's that has a broader ramp leading down into the natural. So that's just something to think about. So we have UpMagic making a little wall here. He's got a few Marines. He's got an academy he's putting down in that block to block off for the wall. And you can see Jaedong is actually sending Zerglings all around the map. I think he's scouting for proxy buildings, like see if there's an extra barracks or something like that that's hidden somewhere around the map, because UpMagic has not shown his hand. He's blocked things off. And so Jaedong's like, all right, well, let me just make sure, check for any shenanigans. It's pretty common practice for, and another factory here going down for UpMagic, actually, interestingly enough. It's very common practice for if you know you're not as good as the other player, you go with cheese, right? And so that's kind of the thing where, like, I think UpMagic probably is aware of the fact that he's the underdog here, and so he also might just be, like, you know, going for cheesier builds in that sense. And so that, I don't think he is. I don't think that's the case in this instance, but I think that might be also why Jaedong is, like, super scouting everywhere to see, like, what's going on around the map. So anyway, this one SCV is running all around and actually looked like he could have gotten in, but no, never mind. That SCV was low on hit points, so couldn't have gotten in there. I thought he had a little route to sneak into the main there and get a little scout. There's a Firebat out. A factory and a starport now? Okay. UpMagic going with a wacky build once again. Getting some Firebats. Very interesting. We're not seeing any research going on at the academy, though, so he's not getting stim. So, I mean, 2 Firebats, and if he gets a couple medics as well, is really, really strong against mass Zerglings if you have the right position. If they get a surround, and the Zerglings just surround the Firebats, and there's no medics, then it's not a very big deal at all, actually. I mean, it is kind of a big deal, but it's a lot of money to invest in getting Firebats just to, you know, if they can be killed off by a group of Zerglings as well, because the Firebats include the Academy, which you're going to get anyway. But anyway, point being, bit of a gutsy move here, and it could pay off, but it also could not by getting these Firebats out. And actually, is he going to be able to get? Nope, still no Scout available. He did leave one Marine behind that wall. I'm not sure if it's a wall that a Zergling could sneak through the middle of or not. Who's going to surround this Zergling? Zergling not going to escape. Anyway, let's get back to the real key thing here going on here. We've got 2 starports. No control tower, so he's just going to build uncloak wraiths. And we do have a spire going down, but this is a little bit, this is crazy. This is crazy. You know, obviously we just saw Nada go cloaked wraiths the other day in a match. I don't remember who that was against actually. And he did it like kind of as a weird thing, and it worked out, almost worked out well for him. We do have that one wraith out, and he's actually not going to hide it. He's going to reveal his wraiths by attacking the Overlord with it. And now you can just go Overlord hunting because that spire is only half complete. We're seeing Evo Chamber and Creep Colony going down immediately. He's going to try and build spores at each of his bases. Oh, it looks like there was a drone in the back to build a spore crawler there, or spore colony, and it didn't build for some reason. Maybe it didn't have enough money or something like that. And so that's going to delay that spore a little bit. Actually, he's building a sunken? What? Why is he building a sunken? I don't know why he's building a sunken. Maybe he's worried about a drop going on at the same time. Actually, that's reasonable. Actually, if he's got a starport and Jaedong knows he has a starport, he could be going for a drop. Anyway, a little bit craziness going on. We actually can see in the bottom right, Jaedong is at 31 out of 19 supply. These wraiths are actually doing tons of damage to Jaedong's supply count. This Overlord is desperately trying to crawl its way over to the spore colony. Sorry. I did cast StarCraft 2 for a few years, and he's not able to pull it off. He can't actually build Mutalisks. He can't build Mutalisks to deal with these, and the Firebats in the choke point can deal with a ton of Zerglings. This is genius. Okay, Spore Colony is on. Oh, he popped the Overlord and he didn't immediately move it to the Spore Colony. So it dies as well. He's now at 20. Okay, he just built several Overlords. We can see on the supply count he's now at 23 out of 43. So he's going to be building some Mutalisks right now. Cloak is now upgrading those. Scourge come out. Actually, he didn't build Mutalisks. He built Scourge. And some nice micro there by UpMagic, being able to kite those a little bit there. Jaedong has a lot of gas saved up, interestingly enough. It's kind of cool to note. Oh, is he going to be able to kite? He gets one Scourge. He gets the other as well. Beautiful, beautiful micro. Oh, some Scourge are going to land, though. Zerglings have run back to his base. Not sure what they're planning on doing there exactly, but Mutalisks are out now as well. And I think Jaedong could be able to recover from this, theoretically, because he's got a bunch of gas saved up. He can continue to make Mutalisks as soon as he gets the minerals for it. He might need more spore colonies, though, at this point. But there, he just keeps building wraiths. One Scourge actually goes to get a scout in, sees the control tower, so he can suspect Cloak is something that might have to deal with. And he's going to get a whole huge scout all over the base to see everything that's going on there. So that's a nice use of that Scourge, actually, because it wasn't probably going to land on those wraiths. It's got an Overlord hiding over in that corner there. And it looks like that Scourge is maybe traveling across the top of the map, though, now to kind of get further scouting information, just kind of get around. Anyway, so UpMagic now has a significant number of wraiths, and the Overlords are popping out, and so he's not supply blocked at all, but the Overlords are still slow. He's probably researching Overlord speed right now, is what I would imagine, to deal with these Cloak. But again, this is kind of cool that, you know, I wonder if he was even inspired by, we saw, like I said, Nada do this in a match in like 2004 or whatever. And UpMagic may have seen that match and, I don't know, several years later been inspired by it. Anyway, so now we do have, though, that once the Overlord's speed is upgraded, he'll be able to keep Overlords with his Mutalisks. He'll be able to combat those wraiths pretty well. I actually don't know off the top of my head how well like wraiths do against mutas if it's just heads up. Like if you have an even number of wraiths and mutas, which side wins. My money would be probably on the Mutalisks, I think, if I had to guess, especially if there's Scourge involved, of course, which there will be because Jaedong is smart, and he's good at StarCraft, so he's not going to be probably engaging with unless he has Scourge nearby, because Scourge can make a huge difference in that air versus air battle. And it looks like Jaedong is starting to gain air superiority in general. UpMagic is, I think he's sacrificing this Wraith. He was going to sacrifice that Wraith to get a scout. Is he cornered? Oh, he is cornered. Oh, he cloaks at the last second. He baits in the Scourge, then cloaks. And now he's able to fly cloaked out of the side and actually does get enough vision. That's kind of amazing that that vision stayed on those Wraiths long enough that he could get those final blow on them. And actually here, the Wraiths are going to come in and pick off a couple of those Overlords that were providing him vision now. And he comes back in with more Overlords. Can he get the last one before his Wraiths all die? Another Overlord comes in. He luckily did escape with... Oh, just a couple Wraiths. Just a couple Wraiths. So, yeah, Jaedong is now completely taking air superiority. But while he's been building this air superiority, UpMagic has been building ground forces again. He's got Medic Marines now. And a significant amount. And turrets as well. Not a significant amount of... Well, a significant amount of turrets, but not an overwhelming amount of turrets. There's a lot of Mutalisks here. It looks like he's got a full control group of Mutalisks. And so he's able to pick off those turrets relatively quickly. Without the Marines there to reinforce, he's just able to do a lot of damage there. UpMagic knows that he kind of needs to keep his Medic Reinforce out on the map as a threat a little bit. He can't just... Well, it looks like his Medic Marines are split up, though, and he's going to lose a whole group of them. Just dying to these Mutalisks. They're just so strong. And the Mutalisks have +1 Carapace, by the way. That's something that's interesting to note. We'll have to check out what the upgrades of UpMagic's Marines are, but I think they're probably unupgraded. And so that Carapace upgrade is meaning that he's cutting out a lot of the damage from the Marines. So that's pretty clever of him to do that. I mean, it's standard to do, I know, but still just something to note. Anyway, so UpMagic is now kind of on the back foot here. He's stuck back in his base. He does have another group of Medic Marines coming out, but he's just, surviving paycheck to paycheck right now. As far as, as soon as Marines pop out, they're going in to die against these Mutalisks at this point. And Jaedong is continuing to produce Mutalisks, it looks like. Lots and lots of them. He did keep a Wraith alive, and that Wraith looks like it's going to go out and try and scout for a third base, also to do a little harassment. On this map, there is a close-by mineral-only third base, but I think Jaedong has his drone up in the top right because that's where the... I'm sorry, top left, that's where the gas expansion is. And Jaedong has his Mutalisks up in the top here, and they're a little bit trapped, but he doesn't really care. He's able to escape through the top and send in his second control group of Mutalisks to attack the natural at the same time. He's just got too many mutas, I think. When you've got two control groups of Mutalisks and you can bounce back and forth, attacking the natural and the main, and your opponent doesn't have enough Medic Marines to combat both groups at once, and you're able to double harass. This is, oh my gosh, this is just high-level Zerg play here as well, doing double harassment. Looks like he's not quite harassing both spots at the same time, but he's going back and forth, harassing the nat, harassing the main, harassing the nat. It looks like UpMagic might have stabilized a little bit. He's just keeping a group of Medic Marines here in the natural. And now he's going with both groups of Mutalisks at the same group, though. And 24 Mutalisks versus 6 Marines is not enough Marines to deal with it. He's sending in more Marines, but it's just not going to be enough, and he's just completely overrunning the natural expansion. Just sheer mass mutas for the win. This is the Zerg dream, ladies and gentlemen. Able to power through 5 SCVs of repair and just kill the bunker, killing all of the Marines as well. And UpMagic is definitely going to lose that expansion. No, Jaedong is not going to be satisfied with just the expansion. He's going for the kill. He's going to camp his mutas. And that Irradiate finishes. The Irradiate finishes researching, or he finished enough energy, perhaps. But I think it was just he was waiting for the Irradiate to finish. And there's the GG, though. He pulls off that one Irradiated Mutalisk. And, wow. What a cool game, again. Cloaked Wraiths versus Mutalisks, and I guess we're seeing again that Cloaked Wraiths just don't really work that well against Mutalisks when the Mutalisks are being controlled by one of the best Zergs in the game. In this case, the best Zerg ever. I don't think that's an understatement, and I don't think that's very easy for anyone to argue against, that Jaedong is the best Zerg ever to play. And so when you're playing against the best Zerg ever, they're going to be able to overwhelm you with the Mutalisks. And you got to hand it to UpMagic. He kept Jaedong supply blocked for a little while. And that was pretty... It was pretty bad situation for Jaedong there for a minute because he was supply blocked. He couldn't build anything. He had the Spire, but he couldn't build any Mutas or any Scourge. Just permanently supply blocked for... Well, not permanently, I guess, because it was for like a minute and a half. UpMagic, unfortunately, couldn't capitalize on it, though, because he didn't have a ground army to follow up with. If he did, Jaedong had Zerglings in the back that he had kind of kept alive. They could deal with a small ground army. And UpMagic just couldn't quite get near enough to the drones to kill him off with the Wraiths, because he did have Spore Colonies in his supply lines as well. So, anyway, very, very interesting game. So, Jaedong's going to go up 2-0 here on Blue Storm. And so, yeah, Jaedong just has to win one more game to win to the finals. And let's move on to game 3.